Ready for the big day? As you look forward to life with your new spouse, the last thing on your mind is the possibility of divorce. After all, you and your partner love each other, right? Many believe that a prenuptial agreement is the most effective planning tool. They became common in the 70s and have gained in popularity ever since. However, a prenup is far from the only or best form of pre-divorce asset protection. In fact, prenups have been and will continue to be broken and or circumvented with relative ease. Anyone who tells you that a prenup is a rock-solid, indisputable form of protection is either misinformed or lying. Beyond their legal defects, which we'll talk about in a moment, prenups have another serious drawback. They require your future spouse's consent. And this inevitably leads to an awkward, potentially painful pre-wedding conversation that may challenge even the strongest of relationships. But you have a much stronger, less awkward pre-wedding planning option at your disposal. It's called an irrevocable trust. Experts know that irrevocable trusts privately and effectively separate personal assets from marital assets without the need for you to list out every asset or to have that awkward conversation. And one of the biggest flaws of the prenup is that really awkward conversation before the wedding. You have been with this person for months, possibly even years, and you're integrating each other into your daily lives emotionally, physically, and monetarily. And I doubt you ever asked her to pay for a date or the last vacation that you went on together. Well, you're about to ask her to turn all of that on its head, and you may not even realize it. Now let's take a look at an example. Let's look at Ted's situation. He was engaged to marry, and there were just 4 months until the big day. Months have been spent planning and preparing for the wedding to make sure that the day was going to be just perfect. Ted, though, had a big secret. He was set to inherit a sizable amount of assets, and he already had accumulated substantial savings of his own. He loved Mary, but he was aware of the statistics that show that even the strongest marriages can end in divorce, especially when his stressful job as a business owner. He knew that protecting his current and future assets is the right thing to do. After months of his agonizing indecision on how he's actually going to talk to Mary about it, Ted finally just came out and asked Mary for a prenuptial agreement. "Well, we need to talk, Mary," he said, going on to explain his concerns. And smiling like a fox who's just cornered a defenseless hen, Mary strikes back and says, "Seriously, Ted?" She asked venomously that question. "I thought you were different, but you already are planning for our divorce." Well, Ted's heart sank as Mary launched into her angry, resentful tirade, eventually storming off. Then her family heard about the conversation. Of course, they rallied around her and against Ted. Now, at this point, even if the wedding goes forward as planned, Ted's perceived mistrust of his future wife's intentions have planted a seed of distrust and resentment that Mary and her family will never forget. In other words, Ted has already lost his battle and is potentially putting at risk a beautiful marriage that was about to be. But it didn't have to be that way. If he would have opted for an irrevocable trust, Ted could have secured the strongest asset protection without ever needing Mary's approval and avoiding the firestorm of hurt feelings and broken trust in the process. If she asks what you're doing, it's just an estate plan. All wealthy people have them. Just how is a prenuptial agreement inferior to an irrevocable trust? In our next video, we will wrap up our list of reasons why.